Hi there! Welcome to the From Lab to Launch podcast by Qualio, where we share inspiring stories from the people on the front lines of life sciences. Tune in and leave inspired to bring your life-saving products to the world.
Welcome back to another episode of From Lab to Launch by Qualio, where we introduce you to today's innovators in life sciences. I'm Meg, your host, and today we're excited to welcome Dr. Francesco Viola, founder and chief scientific officer at HemoSonics. If you've ever seen a medical drama, you know how intense it gets when a patient is bleeding and doctors have to act fast. But in real life, understanding why someone is bleeding and how best to stop it isn't always straightforward. That's where Francesco's work at HemoSonics comes in. HemoSonics provides a solution for doctors to get a clear picture of how a patient's blood is clotting. Instead of waiting for slow lab results or guessing which blood products to give, doctors can now make informed decisions in real time right at the bedside. Francesco brings a unique blend of engineering precision and clinical vision to HemoSonics. With a background in biomedical engineering and more than a decade of experience in medical ultrasound, signal processing, and instrumentation, he's led the charge in developing HemoSonics' groundbreaking Sonic Estimation of Elasticity via Resonance, or SEER technology. Under his leadership, HemoSonics is addressing one of the most critical gaps in patient care, the need for fast, accurate, and actionable blood clotting data, whether during surgery, in the ICU, or at the point of trauma. We're thrilled to explore the journey from academic research to life-saving innovation with Dr. Viola, and how HemoSonics is helping clinicians personalize and improve treatment in real time. Let's dive in. So welcome, Francesco.
Thank you for having me here, Maggie. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to our chat.
Likewise, you've built a career at the intersection of engineering and medicine. What first inspired your work in medical devices?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I guess the origin of how we got started and why we are here really traces back to when I was in graduate school at the University of Virginia. Back then, I was working in a lab. It was a very entrepreneurial lab that was focused on ultrasound imaging and ultrasound signal processing. It was like a great time back then. I was surrounded by incredibly smart people and incredibly smart fellow graduate students. And it was also the right time where academia started to also focus on entrepreneurship, not just on publishing and getting the next grants, but also trying to figure it out. How can we move from bench to the clinic? And there was a lot of interest about entrepreneurship and what technology could be deployed and in clinical settings. So in my research, when I was at UVA, I was really focusing on a branch of ultrasound called elastography, which is really a catch-all word to describe a variety of non-invasive techniques and methodologies used to assess the stiffness of soft tissues and organs. Back then, really, the focus was primarily to look at the liver and liver fibrosis. But in my lab, we had an idea about what if we look at blood? Blood goes through dramatic changes as it goes from a viscous fluid to a viscoelastic solid. And we were one of the first group in the ultrasound community back then to really try to use some of these ultrasound technique to try to quantify, again, how blood moves from liquid to solid during coagulation. After those initial experiments, we really started to discover a little bit about the clinical utility of viscoelastic measurements of blood. And in fact, we discovered that there was a whole class of other devices. They were based on a technology from, I believe it was 1940, was the first time it was described. It was called thromboelastography. There essentially was a cup and a pin that provided measurements over time of blood viscoelasticity, again, as it goes from liquid to solid. And what was interesting about that technique and those technologies is that there were several papers that describes the clinical benefits of making those measurements. It would provide better quantification of why a patient is bleeding and provide indications to physicians on what they needed to do, what they needed to focus on if a patient was bleeding. When we talked, what was interesting though, when we talked to our colleagues in the UVA hospital, they all knew about the thromboelastography, but we found out that those machines were actually relegated to a closet. Nobody was using them. So despite all the benefits in the literature, those machines were not routinely used. And so that sparked a lot of curiosity and a lot of investigation. We found out there were really few key reasons. They were too slow, too hard to use, too hard to interpret. So at that point, the entrepreneurial spark came alive and said, okay, we have this like technology. There is a novel technology that we just developed in the lab. There is a clinical need. There is a demonstrated clinical need. Mm-hmm. The current technology does not really fulfill entirely the clinical needs. So let's put all these dots together. And that's where we started the HemoSonics, and really we started to focus on three things: provide diagnostics that were fast, easy to use, and easy to interpret for the customers. And so we built the company based on those beliefs. And moving forward, that's where we are right now. We are part of a Stago group. Stago purchased HemoSonics in 2017. And we are now selling our devices across the globe. And we are having an impact on patients across different continents. And what's very interesting for me is that when you talk to customers about what do they like about the systems, oftentimes they're like pinpointed back to the three pillars that were the core of the company, right? We really like the Quantra because it's fast, because it's easy to use, and because it's easy to interpret. So it's particularly rewarding to hear that the journey we went through. It became it materialized, right? The way that we envision the company.
Great. That's such an amazing journey. And we hear that a lot about these academic spinoffs. So we'll come back to that. But for those unfamiliar with the space, what makes bleeding during surgery or trauma so complex? I mean, besides the obvious, we only have so much blood, but how does the Quantra analyzer help solve the problem better than traditional lab tests?
Yes, no, that's a great question, Meg. And the issue is that in this critical care setting, time is of the essence. So when a patient is bleeding and is bleeding a significant amount of blood, you cannot wait the general turnaround time that is required for the lab test to come back to the physicians. So oftentimes in the past, physicians relied to the what I heard often physicians call it the shotgun approach, where they would guess essentially what blood products the patient required to stop the bleeding, and that started an iterative process that was lengthy, costly for the hospital, and definitely not ideal for the patient. So what the Quantra can do, the Quantra again was designed to be near patient at the point of care. The Quantra, with a really simple small sample of blood from the patient, can quickly identify what is deficient in your blood sample, so that the clinicians can focus on that component and that component only, and optimize the therapy for that patient. That results in faster stopping of the bleeding, less resources used, and most importantly, better outcomes for the patient.
Yeah, better outcomes, cost savings, all of that. That means that treatment is available for the next patient who needs it if there's resources strapped to and supply chain issues. Yeah.
Correct. Blood products are, obviously a scarce resource, and we need to optimize them carefully so that we don't use all of our supplies on a patient that might not need it, and then we don't have them available for the next one.
Yeah. Great. Being a spin out from a academic research, what advice would you give other entrepreneurs or academics looking to chase that idea from that what if to
Yeah,
a product in the market? What advice would you give them?
yeah, no, that's a great question. Again, I guess there were a couple of major learnings for me, right? Again, coming from a PhD environment where we're trained always to keep asking questions, there were some good learnings and some good advices. First of all, is that great science alone is not enough. We always think that our science and our technology and our innovations are the best, and I truly believe for the contra it is true, but it's not enough, right? I think to build a successful company, there are other factors that come into play, and I did not learn that until I was actually in the middle of it. Timing is very important. Building relationship with investors, building relationship with partner organization, building relationship with potential customers. Those are all things that they're not necessarily taught in academia, but they're critical to build a company. And you have to be a good storyteller. You have to get people, especially early on. You have to sell a vision, and that's a skill all in itself. The other thing that I learned is that startups are not, again, only about a product technology, are about people. So especially early on, it's a small core of people. And I don't want to say those people are your family, because that's not true, but those people are key to the success of the company. And hiring the right people, again, at the right time is critical.
Sounds like
And
you have three pillars there again: timing, people.
Yeah. I mean, always
technology.
revolve to the same thing, right? And stay focused. Stay focused. Again, as a PhD, I said at the beginning, as a PhD, you are trained to keep asking new questions and chase different direction. And in a startup, you have to be laser focused.
Laser. Yeah, it's great advice.
Yeah,
I hear that one often in these conversations.
Yeah. It is absolutely true.
Your technology helps hospitals move from that guesswork to data-driven decisions in emergency. How do you approach building trust with clinicians in such high-stakes environments?
A couple of thoughts on that. Maybe if I take a step back for a second. So clinicians do not always want the new shiny objects, right? Clinicians want reliability, and they want solutions that helps them do their job easier, better, and more efficiently. So that's part of creating trust. I think you need to demonstrate to them that you're not just selling them a new shiny object. You really are part of our solutions to improve patient care, but you're doing it in a way that makes their life easier. I think when you prove them when you prove physicians that you are embedding yourself as part of our solutions, not trying to drop them a box, I think that builds trust and confidence. At HemoSonics, we are all for being part of a team with physicians. We want to stay embedded with them. We want to stay close to them. We want to support them, and we want to see our devices have a meaningful impact in their patients.
Yeah, keep them out of the closet, right?
Keep them out of the closet.
Old machines have passed. Yeah, great.
Exactly. Use them when it's needed in the appropriate settings.
Perfect. Yes. They can't be used if they're in the closet and they're hard to use.
Correct.
Yeah, hard to interpret all of that. At Qualio here, we provide a quality management platform so companies similar to HemoSonics can navigate the regulatory landscape and get to market efficiently. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask a question about quality. So Francesco, how do you approach quality and regulatory alignment at HemoSonics?
Yeah, quality obviously is of paramount importance, right? I think there is the realization since we started the company that there is a patient attached to every test that we run. So we take that responsibility very seriously here at HemoSonics. So one of the core things for us was to build a very robust quality system inside the company, 13485 certified. as well as developing a good relationship with the FDA. At the end of the day, they have an important job to do, and we're very respectful of that. And I'm proud to say that at HemoSonics, we have created a very good relationship with them that's based on science, data, and evidence.
Great. Thank you for sharing your approach there.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of your solution and the industry you're in at large?
Yes, I am very excited about the potential of our company, along with Stago, about what we can do to improve patient care in critical care settings. The Quantra is a first pillar of this strategy, but there will be more pillars that are added to that strategy, and we're having a tremendous impact with the Quantra, and we want to do more. We want to reach more patients. And I'm very excited about that journey.
Likewise, I can't wait to see what you guys do next on your journey.
Yep.
One of our favorite closing questions to ask here on the podcast, you might have caught, is if we bumped into you at the bookstore or at your local library, and what section would you be browsing and where would we find you?
Yes, you will definitely catch me in a bookstore, because I like to read actual books with paper. The novel and the fiction area are definitely my favorite. We deal a work with a lot of data, real stories, and in my reading, I like to use novel and fiction, but I also like some scientific readings and scientific books as well.
A good blend. Well, maybe we'll be bumping into then. Where can our listeners go if they want to connect with you or follow HemoSonics?
They can absolutely go to our website, www.hemosonics.com, or follow us on LinkedIn. And we routinely update our current and future customers about new and exciting developments. And yeah, those are the two key places for us.
Well, thanks so much, Francesco. It's been great getting to chat with you and learn more about your journey here at HemoSonics.
Thank you so much, Meg. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of From Lab to Launch, brought to you by Qualio. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe and give the show a positive review. It really helps us out. For more information about Qualio, our guest today, or to be a guest on a future episode, please refer to the show notes. Until next time.